bankers, and I've seen a lot of cops. I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all the stops. I've seen a lot of children with their parents in their hands. I've felt a lot of women who refuse to understand. And I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take all your money, whatever else spring. And I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. 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 Guitar Players Planet.
Down by the water, maybe I'm a son, maybe I'm a daughter. When the music man calls, that's when I gotta play. For the things I never had, I'm burning with hate, with love. Spin around, round. 'Cause as a boy I had a dream. Carry it with me today. Yes, I do.
Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the sound holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the land of the new. Oh, na 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 na. Seems to me that I've lost my friend. Got the sunset off the highway again. Then I get lost on a long summer day. I must go back before it's too late. You're afraid, you're feeling alone. Time and space can never unfold. The holidays can ring in your fear. The ghost embrace can only mean tears. And I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the land of the new. Oh, na 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 na. Sitting at the lake, I'm feeling confused, but I had my guitar, so I played this blues. But I'm afraid, what might be true, that I might never be back again. Seems to me that I've lost my friend. Got the sunset off the highway again. Then I get lost on a long summer day. I must be back before it's too late. Before it's too late.
Someone to take me down at night. Someone to make my day. New revelation fills my soul. Oh, I can waste away. You distracting my attention. You're all that's on my mind. You not looking for perfection, but you're too hard to find. Now the first night is coming, and I know what to do. You know that nothing feels sweeter than someone new. Yeah, 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 you. Oh, you. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Oh, you. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you. Yeah, you. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Hey, yeah, yeah. Where did my color go? Got your head in the sand. You can't be in control using a powerful hand. I wanna be ya, I wanna see ya. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. You're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hide a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue, yeah. All right. Yeah. Cat learns to ring a bell. Rat gets free from the maze. We can be taught to love. We've got to learn a new way. I wanna see you, I wanna be you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. Yeah, yeah, you're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shadows. Push me to the edge, add a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue. Yeah, yeah, I wanna be, I wanna see, don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late, late, late. Push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, add a little color, it's black and white and blue. Yeah, black and white and blue. You're going black and white on the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, add a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue. There we go. I think we got it now. There we go.
We up?
Yep. There we go.
Yep,
All right, cool.
good.
Sorry about that, everybody. There's a button that wasn't pressed. So how's it going? No half-hour problems, nothing like that. Let me mute the YouTube site. Yeah, we had a big issue on for Wednesday night with audio, and then there we go. We're good to go. Awesome. So hello, everybody. We are here again. It's Friday. It's believe it or not, it's episode 181 of AstroWorld, and we're here tonight with Craig Stocks. And if you don't know the name, you should. And if you've been watching the channel, you should, because he does have a picture of the week winner, the Spaghetti Nebula, if I remember right. And you know, he is a member of the channel, and he also runs Utah Desert Remote Observatories out in Southwest Utah. So welcome, Craig. Thank you for coming and joining us.
Welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about what Craig does and all the stuff. He's got a nice little presentation for us tonight. And before we get into that, it's time to just say thank you to our sponsors real quick. First things first, we got thank you to Woodland Hills and Night Skies Network. Next week we're gonna be giving away a $50 gift certificate to Woodland Hills. So be signed up for that giveaway. Followed by Prima Luce Lab, Camera Concepts, and Optolong Filters. So thank you for them. And if you saw, I know everybody went crazy a couple of 2 weeks ago now. It's been the Eagle 4 giveaway. The Eagle 4 Pro was a monster giveaway. 200 people signed up for that giveaway. So that was pretty cool thing to do. And thank you to all the sponsors. Don't forget, even though we'll be on vacations, this is actually the last broadcast until we come back on August 10th. But we will be doing the Optolong giveaway somewhere on that Friday night. We're supposed to do it every Friday night, the last Friday of the month. So we'll be doing that. Also, thank you to Masters of Pixinsight and IP for AP, which we're giving away a free Masters of Pixinsight class tonight. And that's going to be, I think we got about 75 people in that giveaway. So thank you to them at the super giant level. Of course, we can't do this without any of the member sponsors and all you people that, just donate to the show and give us money to kind of either get the videos out and do our thing and do what we love and get the information out to you guys. Thank you so much to our Black Hole members, to our Red Giant members, all you guys, our 3-timer Chris Frierksen, thank you. Our main sequence members, and of course our Protostar members as well. Feel free, if you're not a member, go to our Patreon site. It's in the description below, and you could be a member and get a nice T-shirt or polo shirt. We got perks to go with it. So obviously tonight we have, as advertised, Craig Stocks from Utah Desert Remote Observatories. Coming August 17th, we're gonna have Astronomy. Molly Wakeling is going to be coming to hang out with us and show us what she did. I just found out she is just starting her PhD thesis. So it's going to be really cool what she's got going on over there, along with the imaging that she's been doing. On September 16th, tentatively, we're going to have Nico Carver from Nebula Photos also going to be coming down and hanging out with us. And fourth quarter, you're going to love this. Astropalooza is coming. So Astropalooza is coming. So far, our guests include Sean Nielsen, Amy Little, otherwise known as Amy Astro, Astronomy, and Nico Carver are all going to be on talking about the trials, tribulations, and successes that they've had in the astrophotography so far. So after that, thank you. And if you don't know, we're on every single social media platform available. Best go on Discord. We're all on it, and you can come and hang out and talk with anybody in the channel. So thank you so much for listening to me banter for a little bit. And we are back to the regular screen. And that's it. And everybody, listen, if you're really itching and you want to donate to us, hit the little $ on the bottom of the chat. You could donate $3, $5, $10, whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want. 50 cents
whatever
or
you want. It could be in Canadian dollars. It could be in Australian dollars.
or even
we even take euros.
Even just a smile. We take smiles too. So just smiles. We do take smiles. So, but thank you everybody for all the support. Everybody's here hanging out with us. Charity, Wade, everybody. And with that being said, we're here with Craig Stark. So again, Craig, thank you for coming on and hanging out with us.
Real
No
quick,
problem. My pleasure.
Before we get started, sorry, Craig, I just want to say thank you, a big thank you to my wife, Robin, for letting me be on this show today or tonight.
Why?
Tonight is our 17th wedding anniversary.
You dog.
And
congratulations.
she has
Happy anniversary.
So cool. Thank you. She's so cool and really supportive of AstroWorld and what I do. So she may be watching upstairs. If not, maybe she'll watch the replay, but I just want to make sure that I say that. So thank you, honey.
You'd be in the doghouse if you didn't. So I mean,
yeah, for
but,
sure.
And we thank her as well. Thank you, Robin. Appreciate it.
Happy anniversary to you both.
I'll give you a big kiss in October. So when I come and see you. So, but
yeah, that's right. You are coming this way in October.
Yeah, October 10th, 11th, 12th. I'll be in Chicago with McDonald's Corporation, doing some stuff over there. So
nice.
Doing that. Yeah. So anyway, Craig.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry, and of course, Eric, I'm sorry. Happy anniversary, bro. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rush that off. But, yeah. It's been a long week, man. but again, thanks, Craig. So tell us a little about yourself. Tell us a little bit about Utah observatories and how you got started and what you got going on.
Okay, you want me to just flip through the presentation and stop whenever there's questions?
If you wish, if that works for you, that's fine. I'll make it bigger on the screen so you can do it. Oh, we got Sean Nielsen here too. Sean Nielsen is here.
He said he was coming on.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna have to set up a 7 too. Hold on, Sean. Let me see if I can get you on. And box.
Yeah, he put it in the admin.
Dude, I've been driving all day, man.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know you. Busier than a one-arm paper hanger.
What is that? I don't know what that is. There you go. There's Sean.
There he is.
There he is.
Hey, guys.
What's up,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Can you hear me? You can hear me. It works. Okay,
yeah, your video may be still a little off because we haven't had a chance to fix it, but we'll get that all sorted.
That's okay. All right, cool. Awesome. Great to be here.
All right. So Craig, it's all yours. Sorry about the interruptions.
Okay. Let me turn on my screen sharing here.
And I'll
so hopefully you can see my screen now.
I'm gonna make it bigger in a sec. Let me find you. There we go. Yeah, we have the elephant trunk, it looks like.
Yes.
Nice.
So
Nice.
if you can see that and you can hear me, then we must be good to go.
We are good to go.
Okay, yeah, I'm just I don't see you on either of my screens, but just holler if you have a question or a comment or something that comes up.
Okay.
Will do.
So this is basically my story of kind of my journey into what I refer to as robotic remote astrophotography. Simply meaning robotic is they let the machines do the work for me. Remote, obviously the work's done somewhere else. And astrophotography, my approach is as a art form rather than science. Some people are really into the science part of it. I certainly appreciate that, and I get involved in that some, but mostly I approach it for the aesthetics of the image. So, I mean, wouldn't we all like to have a robot to do our work for us? So you could go to bed early, stay in bed later, be with your family, go to astronomy club meetings or hangouts. That's kind of the story here. But first, kind of a brief history of me. I started my adult life as a professional photographer back in the 1970s, if anybody remembers those.
Yeah, I think wait, no, I think Scott's the oldest one. Yeah.
Well, they say if you remember the 60s, then you didn't really experience them.
This is true.
So I worked for several years at a daily newspaper as a news photographer, and then a couple of years at a portrait studio. And when I realized that was not really a good get-rich-quick scheme, or even a good get-rich-slowly scheme, I switched to engineering, got a degree, worked at Caterpillar for 30 years, and retired back in 2008. And since then, I've kind of pretended to be a fine art photographer. And I do have some work on display in the area here. And I also enjoy teaching and sharing and occasionally doing small classes, and I do one-on-one training with people. But at some point, a few years ago, I discovered astrophotography when I accidentally took a picture of the sky and it came out. And, thus began my journey down the rabbit hole, which has led to Utah Desert Remote Observatories. So this is kind of the story of how I went about in that process. As we all know, I think that astro equipment is a lot like a regular camera, so I was pretty comfortable with the concepts. That the telescope is a lens that use live view for a viewfinder, glass filters. Most of the cameras, or at least a lot of the cameras, have Sony sensors, which I'm familiar with. You have a tripod. And in fact, most people probably start with a DSLR and a telephoto lens. I know that's how I started. And it's also, the process is a lot like regular photography as far as selecting a subject, pointing the camera, frame, focus, pan, post-processing. So there was a lot of familiar ground for me. Just kind of, depending on the audience here, just an observation that there's probably some fairly broad categories of astrophotography. I think a lot of us probably start with astro landscapes and Milky Way type photography, solar system with the moon, the planets, and of course the sun. And then getting further away, way out there with galaxies, a little closer in star clusters, and even closer nebulae. And one of my early night sky images that probably sucked me in was something like this, where the night sky, happened to show up as a background character. And from that, I started getting more specific and intentional about including the Milky Way in images and finding compositions that played with the foreground and the Milky Way as a nice background, and a little bit of light painting. And then from there, the moon. This was an occultation.
Yep.
When the moon passed in front of Mars about 2 years ago in early 2020. So there were some clouds floating around when it first went behind the moon, and it did clear up enough that I was able to get it when it just came out from behind.
That's cool. That's awesome.
And of course, the lunar eclipse was that back in late May, I believe. This one is showing the scale of Saturn relative to the moon. So I think most people don't realize how small the planets are. If you really want to image planets, it's a whole different kind of thing than nebulae. The sun makes a fun subject and something I'm just starting to explore. Galaxies. I do like galaxies. There's some really nice ones out there. Sombrero and M81 and M82. And with this one, I kind of set about to capture as much of the IFN surrounding them as I could. Or actually, we're looking through. So I set that as a goal. And of course, Andromeda. I'm not sure how many people really go after star clusters. I know normally I don't. Kind of like don't want to offend anybody, but I kind of feel like if you photographed one, you photographed them all.
No, we've had that conversation a couple times.
It's so true.
Yeah. But there are a few that are buried within some more attractive background or more attractive foreground that we're looking through with some nebula, and in this case that's M4, which is nicely nestled in the Rho Ophiuchi area. So that's kind of leading up to what you may be suspecting. What I really like are nebulae. The dumbbell in a deeper exposure where I was able to capture this gas cloud that's I assume being ejected around it. And that was actually I found that to be a tough processing challenge because I wanted to keep the dumbbell bright and the gas cloud surrounding it dim, but still visible, because they're, I could have easily made them the same brightness, but I don't think they should be the same brightness. So this is where I wound up for now, and I will probably change it sometime.
And how long was the exposure for that one? Just out of curiosity.
I believe that was 17 hours.
Okay.
All right.
With mostly HSO and some RGB.
Okay. And which scope was that?
That was the plane wave 12.5.
Nice.
Very nice.
So there's reflection nebula, emission nebula. I love them all. One of the things that I think surprises a lot of people, I know it surprised me when I was first getting into it, is how large many of the objects appear in the sky. So I put together this little diagram that shows everything at the same scale. So here you can see the moon, M81, M82, and Andromeda. And, some of these nebula are just, absolutely huge. Meaning that you don't really need, one of those really long focal length telescopes that you see at Kmart. What you need is something short and fast to get started. But I like the opportunity for artistic interpretation. This is the Orion Nebula in just 4 very different color palettes of HSO, SHO, probably OHS, just kind of playing around with different colors. This is one I just did the other night in GC 7822 in an HSO color palette, or an SHO color palette, or an OHS, which tends to have a lot of green and blue, which some people find objectionable. I tend to embrace the green. So I'm a little bit different that way.
I love that little tint of green sometimes when you got that transition from the golds to the blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Spaghetti Nebula in HOO or in OOH.
Oh, there you go.
It's really nice.
Turned it upside down.
Yeah.
The jellyfish, again, this is another one in the OHS. And to me, it suited it very well because it was really had a lot of signal in both oxygen and hydrogen. And just little bits of sulfur here and there for some red highlights. Bubble Nebula. Again, this was an HSO. Black and white sometimes works really nicely. And here, not only black and white, but also starless to really highlight the gas structure around the horse head. And I've never figured out if horsehead is 1 word or 2 words, so you'll probably see it inconsistently throughout here. Same area and color. A very wide panel with a mosaic of 5 images, or a triptych of 3 close-ups, all from the Orion area.
Yep.
Very nice.
Sol Nebula in SHO. Flying Bat and Giant Squid in HOO. Veil. Dark nebula are a lot of fun.
Yes.
I really enjoy showing people the dark horse nebula that's near the center of the galactic center of the Milky Way. And it's funny because once they see it, they immediately can find it and kind of orient themselves to what they're looking at. So that's always kind of fun. The Blue Horsehead Nebula. Incidentally, August 17th, 18th, thereabouts, the comet 2017 K2 is going to be passing by the nose of the Blue Horsehead. If you have an opportunity to image that.
Nice.
The Iris, another reflection nebula with a lot of dust around it. Back to a whole lot of hydrogen. Elephant trunk here, and just a simple, this is a one-shot color combination of RGB stars, and then using the Optolong L Enhance, which was the main part of the nebula, which I've just started using that filter, although I've had it for a couple of years. And I'm finding it very effective, even with moonlight, on reasonably bright emission targets. I'm really liking the results with it. So there it is in HOO with actual narrowband filters, or turn that around to SHO, and here with most of the green removed. And like I said, I tend to not be afraid of green, and so I probably prefer this version because the green really does help show where the hydrogen is predominant.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of lastly in the green, this was the APOD image on 622, my starless Cygnus loop,
Phenomenal.
and you'll notice again a lot of green, a lot of hydrogen.
Wow.
That is amazing.
I opted to.
I see that one. I see, that one image over and over, and that is probably the most unique and the most phenomenal one I have seen. That is amazing.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I was pleased that it rose to the level of an APOD.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that is
Deservingly.
that is gorgeous. Yeah, that is amazing.
And again, this was around like 15 or 17 hours of SHO data.
Wow.
So
that's it, eh?
for me, my astro imaging really kind of started with a star tracker because, as you know, the stars move. So I went with the Skywatcher Star Adventurer that I could just clamp a camera onto with either a wide angle or a short telephoto lens. And in terms of robotic remote astrophotography, it's a little bit of a gateway drug. It gets you started, but boy, it's very hands-on. It lets you do longer exposures, but you pretty much have to stand right there with it. There's nothing remote about it. But you could put a little telescope on it, so it kind of sucks you in a little bit further. From there, I decided, well, I probably should get a proper telescope with a real go-to mount, so I could find these things in the sky that I can't find otherwise. So the go-to mount made a big difference in finding things, better tracking, and going to a real telescope versus a camera lens was a big improvement because the telescope optics are really optimized for stars, where camera lenses, some do okay, some are pretty poor. But again, still very hands-on. You stand next to it usually with the hand controller. So that led to looking for ways to adopt computer control, and you'll notice that somewhere along the way, the mount and the telescope grew up a little bit. But my first step was the ASI Air, and that just had all kinds of capabilities that with the phone or a tablet, I could be 20 feet away or so. The early ASI Air Pro does not have much range, but it disconnects and reconnects pretty reliably. It handles that robustly where other things really get confused. But you could stay inside or stay inside your car, and as you got to trust it, you could even do a meridian flip during the night. So start to separate me from the telescope. It was also my introduction to auto guiding, which was a real big step forward. The way it could, lock on and follow the stars. And stepping up from a DSLR to a dedicated astronomical camera, I chose a monochrome as the first camera because I felt like I would get cleaner images, and that also let me do either broadband or narrowband. And again, the ASI Air provided the controls. And initially I had a filter drawer. So not quite remote, but I could go out and pull out the filter drawer and swap a filter. So it worked in the backyard. Just pointing out that narrowband filters, or filters in general, are very important tools in astro imaging to be able to pick out just the specific gases. So just a little illustration with hydrogen in red, oxygen in cyan, but when you put the two together, you get a nice full color image.
Nice.
So it's so important. The next step was a filter wheel to change filters for me. So you can see I'm slipping right down the rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, it's just getting deeper.
Yep.
Yeah. And then if you're that far in, you might as well get an autofocuser, right?
Oh yeah,
going out there with your Botanoff mask in the middle of the night or every 45-minute focus. Let the autofocuser do it for you. And again, the ASI Air could control all of these things. So it could find and follow the targets, change filters, focus, control the camera exposures, but it's still not really suited for a remote. It's really designed to be 20, 50 feet away, something like that. It's nice because it's one integrated system. It controlled everything, and everything just kind of worked as long as it was in the ZWO universe, but it's not remote. Not remotely remote, I guess. So that meant I had to replace the ASI Air with a PC. And so I switched to a little Intel Nook computer, which you can see mounted on top of the scope here. That gives you a lot more freedom, but it also turns you into the systems integrator. So I use Voyager as my top level control, but then you also have to have ASCOM, PHD2. I added a Pegasus rotator, the little blue flange here, ASI filter wheel, focuser. Initially I was using ASTAP for plate solving. So, you have to integrate all those things and get them working together. But when you get them working, they do work. You may notice also moved out of my backyard and out into the desert. So with the Nook connected and the telescope connected to the internet, I can use a remote desktop application to connect to that Nook from anywhere I have internet at. So the telescope can be out in the desert. I can be at home in bed and just connect with the remote desktop and do everything as if I was using the computer right there. And on the remote desktop, this is what the Voyager screen looks like with the controls over here, preview images, and a readout, kind of a system monitor that tells you what's happening, set of gauges to show you what the scope's doing, what the camera's doing, what the cooler's doing, and so forth. But now we need a place for the telescope. We got all the remote stuff. I need a place to put it. So I could put it in my own backyard. And in fact, that is the way I started. And kind of like you were commenting on, Dan, one of our early experiences was we were trying to learn about remote imaging.
Yep.
We spent a couple weeks back in Illinois, where we moved from a few years ago. And while we were gone, I had my combination of my son and my grandson. Every night, one of them would take the telescope out, put it on the mount, hook up the computer, turn everything on, and then I would run it remotely from Illinois. And boy, you learn real quickly what things are different and important when you're remote versus right there with it. Such as having a camera so you can actually see the telescope and know where it's pointed.
Sure.
Other options are remote locations that you own or have access to. You can rent a spot in a remote observatory, and you can also rent time on a fully configured system that somebody else owns and operates. So the main focus here is talking about the remote hosting. And that's what gave rise to the idea of Utah Desert Remote Observatories. We offer peer rental where you can rent by the month with a 1-year lease. Our main building, which I've got pictures and so forth, actually has 18 piers, but we probably won't have telescopes on all 18 at once. Basically, we provide a concrete foundation for the telescope's pier, power, high-speed internet, roof control, weather and sky data, on-site caretaker, and then if you need a custom pier, we can manufacture a pier for you. Searching for the property was quite a challenge because we set a standard of Bortle 2 or better based on the light pollution map. And then we needed a clear view of the horizon, and there are a lot of mountains around Utah, so that was a factor. We needed it to be accessible year-round, which meant not too high elevation. We needed sufficient space and separation from neighbors so that we weren't going to have somebody turning lights on and all night and bothering us. Utilities was a big challenge with water rights, which are a big thing in Utah, and of course power. Most importantly was high-speed internet, and that was really the toughest thing. When you add that to the list, all of a sudden your choices get real slim.
Yeah, for sure.
So as it turns out, we've got better internet out there than I do here at home.
Okay.
That's awesome. So
That's
what about,
really good.
there was a question regarding animal life out there. As far
But
as
regarding animals?
Yeah, coyotes or anything like that out there that kind of disturb the domes or buildings?
We do have deer and coyotes. They've never really come very close. And as you'll see, the telescope floor is really kind of, it's surrounded by walls, so it's not really sitting out in the desert.
Gotcha.
It's kind of inside with the roof off. So
Awesome.
coyote or deer would have to jump over a wall with spikes on it.
Oh, yikes.
But we spent a lot of time, kind of triangulating between the real estate listings and the dark sky map and what was available. We looked in Utah, Arizona, Nevada, even into California. And St. George, where I live, is right here. This big blob is Las Vegas. So we needed to be away from Las Vegas. And we were hoping to preserve the southern sky as much as possible. Although, as you can see, that between LA and Las Vegas, it's hard to do, but we did do it. Eventually, we found our spot up here in a, technically it shows as a Bortle 2. We do get Bortle 1 readings occasionally. Wow. So it's nice dark sky. We're at 5,100 feet elevation. The property did need some work when we got it. It's 120 acres, but it had this old dilapidated single wide trailer where the power and the well and the original septic were located. So the first thing we had to do was dispose of that, and that got hauled away in 3 big roll-off dumpsters. This is my son and youngest grandson here in the little excavator. Fortunately, my son's a heavy equipment operator. He's a foreman for a local electrical contractor, and he was even able to borrow some of the equipment early on. So this was actually his company's excavator that he was able to bring out for the weekend to start the demolition. So with that, we created an RV parking pad. So we've got room for 3 or 4 RVs with hookups. And then we set up a trailer as a temporary office and kind of actually started Utah Desert Remote Observatories. We decided that we should probably build a prototype to make sure that all of our concepts work, since none of us had ever done this before. So we decided early on, about a year ago, we decided to build a prototype, which is a 10 by 12 Quonset hut design with a single pier. But we were going to build it using the same processes and technologies and control systems and so forth as the full-size observatory, just kind of in miniature, but that it would work. And the building, as you'll see, actually rides on two 24-foot long steel I-beams. And then we actually use hoist trolleys upside down to capture the building onto the I-beam. So the first thing we did, this was not quite the first, but actually the first thing we did was dig a hole, and 36 inches deep or thereabouts, well below the frost line. And we put about 1.5 yards of concrete in there with rebar sticking up. And then we came back and poured a 24-inch sonotube riser that would come up through the floor of the observatory. So this is after the riser was in. We've got our east-west string drawn here. And here's my son with the wheelbarrow. We're in the process of setting this first rail. In the prototype, it's just supported on wooden 4x4s that are cemented into the ground. Interesting challenge. The first one had to be put in the right place relative to the pier and level, and we wanted it to run straight east-west. The second one had to do all of that plus be perfectly aligned with the first one. So it was, that was a good full-day job just getting those lined up and cemented in. Once we had the rails in, here you can see the carrier. There's a steel C-channel with rollers, and then the trolley rollers that capture it onto the I-beam. And here's one of the first hoops for the Quonset hut that's going to go into the channel system. So basically you stand one up, bolt it in place, screw the next one together, stand it up, bolt it to the first one, bolt it in place. And you just keep putting in nuts and bolts. And it was kind of an all-day project. But eventually you get enough in and you have an observatory. And then we built the floor for it. Hopefully this time lapse will work. So this is putting in here's the floor, and this is us putting in the walls. There's 4-foot high walls on all 3 sides, and then the 4th side has a full height wall that closes in the front of the observatory. So that's how you build an observatory.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that was the back wall, kind of built like a pole barn with vertical support, horizontal support across the bottom, vertical, and then horizontal beams to support the back panel. That back panel rides with it when it opens. And when you get all done, ta-da, you have an observatory. This is the opener system. There's a chain running from front to back a little bit past the opener. It just pulls the chain back and forth to open and close the observatory. Then you can see the rails extending out behind.
Yep.
This shows the front view with this is the stationary wall that the observatory hangs over that by about 6 or 8 inches to seal it. And then when you're ready, you push the button, or the computer tells it to go, and it opens up.
Awesome.
And so it opens up in the evening, do your imaging, and then it closes up in the morning. And then with the weather system, it will close if the wind is too high, or if it gets cloudy, or if the drop of rain gets on the weather sensor. Any of those things will trigger it to close. If it loses internet connection, it'll close. There's all kinds of air conditions that will make it automatically close.
That's awesome.
And here you can see the telescope's actually up on about a 4-foot high pier. So it's up about as high as we could get it inside the building. This is just showing the rail system with the upside down trolley with a wheel in between. So there's 3 rollers on each side, and then the trolley holds it down. And then this is the Alico opener with a couple of idler sprockets to pull the chain through.
Now, is this very
My
good? That looks like it's very similar to some of those gate openers. Is that?
It actually is a gate opener, yeah. The interactive astronomy packages, basically you order the Alico opener, send it to them in California. They add their wiring and control board. So when you get it from them, you get the Alico opener, and it has an extra wire coming out that goes to their control panel and a USB interface to connect to the computer.
Nice.
And then they have software that operates the opener to keep track of the building, and it also reads the weather system files.
And which weather system are you using to control the dome?
I'm using the interactive astronomy weather system. So I've got an all-sky camera, weather system, and the opener control system are all from interactive astronomy. So that was the prototype. This is what's under construction now. A little bit larger. Rather than just being on wooden posts, it's going to be on concrete. Did I hear a question?
No, we were just agreeing it's a little bit.
No, we were just commenting. It's like, yeah, this is a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger. It will have, it's what, 25 by 44 is the telescope floor, and then we have a small office attached to the front for computers and storage and so forth. Same principle though. Basically almost an identical I-beam, only in this case it's going to be 90 feet long. So the cover will open about 10 feet beyond fully open. This is kind of a aerial view of an artist's rendering. What looks like pineapples on a grill, these are actually the clearance circles for the telescope piers. And I know we're looking at one large 24-inch plane wave that's going to have plenty of room.
Nice.
So far, most of the last year, other than putting in the prototype, has been site preparation. So this is the 120-acre property. This light area is kind of a wash. It's maybe 5 feet lower than the rest of the property. And then there's a county gravel road over here. And this is where we get our fiber optic internet. We were fortunate the phone company out there needed to replace their old copper telephone lines, and they decided it was cheaper to replace them with fiber optic. So we have symmetrical gigabit internet, and we can get additional services out there if we need them. But we had to build about a half-mile road out onto the property. We've got a shop building over here. This is the observatory that we were looking at the drawing of. And then the road continues on, and there's a garage and the caretaker's house back here. So we put in the road, we ran water, electric, internet all the way out to the caretaker's house, put up all of the buildings. So there's 3 buildings now, and then the 4th one, which is the observatory, is under construction. The RV pad and the little prototype are up here at the front. But that has kept us pretty well occupied for the last year.
My buddy Dave Barnett in the chat has a kind of a question. He was just wondering, how long is the drive to the hardware store?
Actually, about 15 minutes.
There you go.
That's actually a good question.
Yeah.
There's a little town, literally I timed it, it's about 14 or 15 minutes from the driveway here to the hardware store. It's a True Value.
Nice.
So
yeah, it'd be a shame to go all the way out there and just not have the right screwdriver. You know.
Yeah, and there's and even closer, maybe 4 or 5 miles away, is a John Deere ag dealer, and they sell gas, diesel, and also propane. So we can refill our propane tanks for the campers there.
Awesome.
Okay. Al also has Al Need has a question. How many pads are currently occupied?
Well, the building is still being built, so you could say technically none of them are occupied. We've had a lot of interest, and based on all the people who've said they want one, we would probably more than fill that building. So we are taking reservations.
Okay. And George Lutch, a follower, was asking, was it a difficult task to find funding for the project?
We basically funded it ourselves.
Gotcha.
There you go.
There it is. And Cap's asking, how do you apply for
About
the
the caretaker?
job?
Hey,
Well, right now the caretakers is our daughter and son-in-law. If they decide they don't want to do it, then, and if our son doesn't want to do it, then it might be open. But right now the job's taken, unfortunately.
well, once the job opens, let us know at AstroWorld, and we'll get it out to our membership. So,
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't pay a lot, but it comes with free housing and a beautiful sky.
there you go.
There he is.
As long as it's got water, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
So April 30th was kind of our almost a year in, and that was when we did the official groundbreaking on the main observatory. So of course we did our groundbreaking at night so we could have some stars in the background.
Nice. And when do
Yeah.
you
This is-
project the observatory, this new observatory, to be completely ready to go to accept
This fall.
customer equipment? Okay.
This fall. But we know we've got one that wants to move in November 1st, and I don't see any problem being ready before that. So whether it's
And-
September or October, I'm not sure, but we've got the contractors lined up. They're pouring cement Thursday for the stem walls, and then I say we're meeting with the framing contractor tomorrow to go over those details.
Nice.
And there's really not a lot of construction. The inside of the office doesn't have to be all finished and decorated and wallpapered before we start putting telescopes out. But we do need to have the electrical, the internet. We need to have the backup generator installed and connected and so forth.
Sure.
Any Dennis was asking, any security possibilities, issues, or anything out there?
We don't anticipate any. We're pretty remote. The caretakers are well armed, and they have a not very social dog.
There you go.
There you go.
That'll work.
But there have been, we have had discussions. Should we put a security fence around it and make it look like a secure installation, or should we keep it low profile? And right now we're opting for the low profile.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, David even mentioned you got coyotes for security too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool when you hear them out there, and it seems like every night they're in a different direction, so they do move around. So building the main observatory, this is my son down in one of the foundation holes. So basically we dig that hole, fill it with about somewhere between a yard and a half of concrete. So that's what, 5,000-6,000 pounds. And then we set the sonotube so that once the foundation has cured, then we come back and fill the sonotube. So this is what will actually come up through the floor. And there's 18 of these. And youngest grandson again. So like I said, it's family business. Here you can see the concrete shoot from the concrete truck. There they are filling one of the sonotubes. Or I guess maybe they're filling the foundation around it.
Mark Ellis is asking, will you be having any individual pads for people to come and image for a weekend with portable gear, or is this going to be more just permanent setups?
That's a good question. And again, it's something we've talked a lot about. We would like to be able to offer that, but we're not sure we're going to be able to for a couple of reasons. One, the zoning through the county, as you might imagine, when they looked through their list of permitted uses, they didn't find remote observatory anywhere. So we had to figure out how to kind of license and permit this operation. And it wound up being permitted as a private club, is kind of the best fit. But one upshot of that is it's not open to the public. We do have some RV pads that people can use if they want to come out to set up their telescopes. We may expand that to, to be open to some people to come out, but so far we have not taken that step.
Gotcha.
And
also right now we're trying to stay a little bit, somewhat focused on getting the observatory up, and that would be something of a distraction for us in terms of trying to get the business going right now.
Sure.
And David Barnett asked, what about thermal mass from the floor? Are you doing a full slab?
No. Good question. That's why we're not doing a full slab. It'll be a wooden floor separated, with annular openings around the risers, but it won't touch the risers. And none of the risers, none of these foundations touch each other.
David actually runs a nice facility out on Long Island. He has a number of buildings and domes and telescopes out there, out in Stony Brook, Long Island. So that I imagine more structural questions from David. So
okay.
Yeah, he just mentioned, he was agreeing that a wooden floor is the right way to go.
Yeah, he's really good at what he does too. He's built quite a number of facilities out on Long Island. So
yeah, and I have talked to some knowledgeable people who have been running remote observatories for decades, and they kind of poo-poo that whole thermal mass thing. But everything I read, and it makes sense to me, you don't want a whole bunch of heat building up in there. So
yeah, exactly.
And if nothing else, I figured our customers read the same books and blog posts I did. So whether it's right or wrong, if they think it's right, then that's what we have to do.
Yep, absolutely.
So this is what it looked like about a week ago, after we put in all of the foundations and the risers. We excavated all this out, and out here we do what's called over excavating, where we actually had to dig down a foot deeper and then moisten and compact the soil with a jumping jack as we put it back in. So all of this was compacted, and then the geotechnical engineer had to come out and inspect the compaction to make sure it was done correctly. This is all formed up now for 42-inch high stem walls, and after the concrete stem walls are poured, we'll backfill everything. There'll be about a 2-foot crawl space under the wooden floor, and the floor will come up so that these risers will extend about 2 inches proud of the floor. And like I said, that'll be a wooden floor going across.
Got it.
Yeah, David was mentioning climate control is very important. Having vents and stuff like that, he mentioned.
It probably is. In the prototype, I don't have any insulation or forced ventilation, and surprisingly, it stays within 5 degrees of the ambient. So,
wow.
And I don't know if it's just leaky enough or if I've just been lucky so far.
Hey, take it.
But it surprisingly does not get as hot in there as you would expect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take that big warm room too.
This is just kind of a peek inside the prototype. This little gray box on the back, that's the control system for the roof system.
Okay.
One thing we do that I haven't seen is we put unistrut down both sides of the pier. So I've got the Nook computer and then a little a bolt to hang the control panel. On the other side, I've got some 3D printed caddies to hold the power bricks, just for the power supplies, and then a digital loggers web switch is mounted over on the other side. So that keeps stuff up off the floor.
Hey, Craig,
and then we manufacture these with software bisque, Paramount hole patterns, so they'd fit any of the Paramounts.
Yeah, Craig, I think Peter's trying to ask you a question. I'm going to boost up his volume a little bit. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Craig, it's Peter. Got a quick question to ask you. Looking at the big observatory, with the plane waves and the wedges, are you going to be definitely looking at offsets more so than the vertical piers? Because if you are, I'm going to get you in touch with the gentleman that makes the offsets.
It's whatever the customer wants.
Okay.
We've got a couple of the big plane waves we've looked at so far are not on offset plates. They're using them either alt-az or on a big equatorial mount. But that is something to consider. It's always a question I ask. Yep.
Because if push comes to shove, when we get to that point, if somebody wants an offset, I'm going to get you in touch with the gentleman that will make those for us. So
okay,
I'll get in touch with that guy.
I appreciate that.
All right.
So this is just a peek at the control systems. As I mentioned, we've got the Sky Alert, I guess, is their brand name or their model name for the weather system. We have a sky quality meter, seeing monitor. These are all online, by the way. The sky roof opener, and that's linked to the weather system, an all sky camera, and then some closed circuit TV cameras. And if you go to the weather page on our website at utahdesertremote.com, you'll see all these things. Other than you won't actually see the roof opener, but you'll see this weather report, the sky quality, seeing monitor, and all that good stuff. This is one of the things we talked about, the difference between your backyard and being remote. Learning to rely on these graphs and interpret what they're telling you takes some trust initially. And the most difficult one is the top one that shows whether it's cloudy or not. And it does that by comparing the ambient temperature, which is the top line, to the sky temperature. If you just point an infrared thermometer straight up at the sky, and it will read much cooler if it's a clear sky, and not a whole lot cooler if it's a cloudy sky, because clouds tend to be warm. So the blue line that you see down here at the bottom, that is the sky temperature. The top one is the air temperature. Anytime the blue line is within the gray bar, that means it's cloudy, either a little cloudy or a lot cloudy. When the blue line is down below the gray bar, that means it's clear. So when I grabbed this snapshot, at that time it was clear. And if you look at the details, the air temperature was 103 and the sky temperature was 12 degrees. So it was a very clear sky at that time. 4% humidity.
What are you able to get your camera down to as far as temperature is concerned?
Yeah. Right now I'm running -10. I was running 0 last year, and then I ran into problems in the winter when it got below freezing. Everything would stop because the camera was too cold and it wasn't going to warm up. So I had to go to -10. I usually will start it cooling about an hour or so before to get it down to -10. And then it'll cruise there all night at around 50% power.
Wow. All right.
Now, we do cool off quite a bit.
The location that you're at here in Utah, on average, how many on average clear nights have you been able to get?
It varies a little bit from month to month, and my record keeping has improved. I've been saying that we average around 70% clear nights or imageable nights.
Imageable nights, yeah.
May and June, and I think so far in July, I'm running at a pace of around 80 to 85% of the nights I'm imaging.
I wish.
Okay.
I'm just the opposite, like 15%.
That is just awesome.
And we do have a monsoon season, so we've been pretty cloudy here all day. The weird thing with our weather pattern, there's two weird things. Most of the time, not every night, but most of the time, the wind will stop right around sunset, just like somebody flipped a switch, and it might
Wow.
go from 20 miles an hour to almost zero, just almost instantly on the graph.
Wow.
The other weird thing is the clouds tend to just kind of evaporate at sunset. So even though there's clouds overhead an hour before sunset, if you keep watching, they will tend to just dissipate, and usually by midnight it's crystal clear. Yeah. Not always, but that's a pretty common pattern. And typically, if it's going to rain, it's you've seen that coming all day. That we don't typically have surprise pop-up thunderstorms in the middle of the night like we used to have in the Midwest.
Right, for sure.
But that's why we have all the weather system and safety linkages and so forth, just in case. I mentioned I'm using Voyager, which I like. The support is a little iffy. Sometimes you get great support. Sometimes you get sarcastic comments back. So, take it for what it is. But the software has worked well for me.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of go back and forth between using the SkyX or PhD2 for auto guiding.
And what prompts the switch from the Sky to PhD and back?
Just wondering if the grass is greener on the other side.
Gotcha. Okay,
Sure.
fair enough.
I can't say that any one has done better than the other. If I'm going to calibrate frequently, then I like the SkyX better because the calibration is very fast versus PhD's kind of lumbering along for 5 minutes. But I like the idea of the multi-star guiding in PhD2. Don't know if it really works any better, but it seems like a good idea.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I have a good answer other than just if it's sometimes it
that's
just seems
fine.
like
I just
maybe I
thought,
should switch.
maybe one night you were having an issue with one, not with the other, or just playing around with different pieces of software.
No, I think I've had pretty decent results with both.
Okay, good.
This is just an example of the Voyager sequence editor where you can specify your target, the filters, times, gain, offset, and then you've got all sorts of parameters to set for what to do when it first starts, what to do for auto guiding. Do you have a rotator? And if so, do you want it to rotate just based on degrees, or do you want it to plate solve based on the sky position? So there's lots of controls here. And then they also use what's called drag script, where you basically grab commands from the right and drag them over into the sequence. So this is all too small to read, but basically what it says is when you launch the script, connect all the equipment, wait till it's almost dark, calibrate the guide system, although usually I bypass that. Wait until complete dark, start sequence 1. If there's an error, send an email and go down to sequence 2 and just keep going until you run out of sequences. Then at the end of the night, park the scope, disconnect the equipment, and shut down. So
We have a
my
question,
usual,
from Dawn Paul and Elizabeth Romero. Wanted to know if you ever have to calibrate your sky temperature to help with cloud detection. How do you get to calibrate the cloud detection? I guess
you set an offset for the size of that gray bar. Right now I've got it set at around 35 or 40 degrees, and it will change a little bit between summer and winter. But basically you look at the weather and you say, well, it's just kind of getting partly cloudy. I should be just kissing that line, and if I'm not, then I need to adjust the offset.
Okay.
So it sounds complicated, but in practice, after you watch it for a while, it becomes pretty straightforward.
Got it.
Now, I have another question. Say once you're starting to get your customers and you're getting your mount and people are setting things up, say for example, we have, like, say myself, I am an ASI air user, or you have someone using Nina. So you have this larger observatory where you have, and say someone, they'll want to do some imaging or anything like that, where you have information to let customers know, maybe on a website or anything, about when, hey, that the observatory is open now, so you can start imaging, or if there's a sudden, or if it's closed and things like that, so people can do any kind of, can make sure and plan and do whatever work they need to do, or, when they want to do any imaging.
Ooh, sorry.
Yeah.
It was a sneeze. Sorry.
Good question.
I thought you stepped on your dog.
That's what it sounded like. Didn't it?
Poor Pepper. We just lost Pepper.
But she'll be in your soul.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Literally.
rim shot. Dum-dum.
Horrible.
Yeah. The question of how do customers know when the observatory is open is a good one. I'm not sure if we're going to put that in the blog or send an email out to subscribers each day of what the plan is. Typically, if weather permitting, it will be open even if it's partly cloudy, because some people will want to image around the clouds, some people won't.
Right.
So we'll whenever we can, we'll err on the side of opening the observatory, and then let you decide if you want to image or not.
Sure.
Interesting. I have a question, actually. I was just curious. I was looking at your website, and I was wondering if you could elaborate a bit more about the option to lease a complete system built to specification.
Be happy to talk to you about that. We don't have anything specific. We've had some conversations with Woodland Hills about some different systems that we might put together.
Right.
That has been admittedly one of the kind of back burner things as we focused on getting the observatory up and running.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
But if that is something you're interested in, please get in touch with me.
Definitely.
So I guess my typical workflow, I watch the weather sometime during the evening. Typically I'll decide what I want to image that night and spend a couple minutes configuring the script for the, right now I'm running 2 systems out of that one observatory. Open the observatory, launch the programs, and go to bed. And then my robot works all night imaging the sky. When I get up in the morning, I'm using a Dropbox folder on each one of those nooks. So when I get up in the morning, all of those images captured during the night are waiting for me on my PC. And then I can start processing. So kind of summarizing my experience remote, like we said, takes some getting used to because you're relying on sensors and remote cameras and so forth. And you can't just walk out and unplug something or flip a switch or something, that you're relying on caretakers. And to some extent, the equipment choices, like somebody pointed out, if you have a mount with a homing sensor, you can just power cycle that mount, rehome it, and you're good to go. Nobody has to go out and release the clutches and put it back in a home position or something. The result, I'm convinced I get more data and better data than I did from my backyard. The obvious, of course, is a darker sky. I'm in about a Bortle 5+ in town here. I get more imaging nights, but mostly it's because I don't have to be present. I can be in bed or at a dinner party or giving an online presentation, and the telescopes are out there working for me. So I'm collecting data whether I'm there or not. So, if it's running 85% of the nights, I'm collecting data right now on 2 systems, 85% of the nights. And that's kind of cool.
That's pretty awesome.
That's really cool.
That's great.
So just
how do you get a whole
few more
the,
examples,
caretaker?
just because I have these all over my hard drive and I need to do something with them.
What was that, Sean?
California Nebula.
Sean, you had a question?
I just was Yeah, I
Yep.
was just curious about the caretaker part of it. If there is a problem, how does someone that's using your service, how do they get a hold of the caretakers? Do they phone them, or
Call
is it
them.
through
Yeah.
call them?
Phone
Okay.
call. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like
They live on the
all night
property.
thing? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
That's kind of part of the job.
So if something went down at 2 a.m., I could call them and they would run out and fix it, basically, if it was fixed.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Now, if that starts happening every night, we'd want to have a conversation. There's
Yeah, for sure.
a limit to how many unplanned calls like that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And we are looking at offering additional services such as cleaning and lubricating and so forth that would be in addition to the lease. Kind of like a service contract for the people who aren't close enough to come out and play with them in person. Because a lot of people will live 2, 3, 4 hour drive away, and it's conceivable maybe once a month or every couple of months they'll want to come out. And like one fellow said, he wanted to come down, pet his telescope every now and then.
Let me just look at it. People are
Yeah,
asking
I'll
about
be
the
the
witch
type
head.
that, I'm just kind of curious, and this is just me. So if I were to bring my refractor or something like that, and we get things set up, so would I just call the caretaker and ask him or her, hey, would you mind if the observatory is open to take the cap off my telescope and the night, and then the next morning put it back on? I don't know how that would even work.
Well, ideally, you would have a flip flat.
A flip flat.
Or
gotcha.
To close it up during the day.
Sure.
I have a refractor with a flip flat, and then I have the plane wave that they don't make a flip flat big enough to. And I'm not sure it would even be a good idea if they did, because it would be a bit of a sale out there.
Yeah.
But I just park it pointed, kind of angled down, and we do have dust is probably the biggest negative we have out there. When you're in the desert, you do have dust, but by parking them the way I do, occasionally I'll take a bulb blower and blow off the lens of the Takahashi and the guide scopes, and the mirror has done pretty well, kind of protected up inside the plane wave.
Got it. A lot of people are asking the stats on that Witch Head Nebula that you have showing on there.
It's almost starless. I decided to leave that Rigel, I think, in.
Yep.
It's actually a 6-panel mosaic. I imaged the main part of the Witch Head in RGB, and I liked it, but it was too tight, and she needed someplace to look. So I went back and shot 6 panels worth of HA. So you can imagine 3 vertical panels across the top and 3 across the bottom to get the background.
Nice.
Like I said, it's not.
I'm sorry. How
many
much
hours?
data? Yeah.
Approximately 10 or 12 hours, maybe. It's with a dark sky and a good camera. It's amazing what you can get with even just a few frames.
Yep. I unfortunately am in a Bortle 8 + 9 something 11 guy.
Yeah, I have even processed images where I had.
Yep, Sean's in the same boat.
Yep.
Yeah, I have processed a number of images where I had 1 hydrogen, 1 sulfur, and 1 oxygen, and it's not going to be an APOD image, but it was certainly good enough for Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mark Ellis has a question. He's wondering, will your site have enough room for a PlaneWave L series mount with a wedge, as they take up more room than a normal EQ mount?
Should have, yes. Some of the piers are spaced further apart than others, and hopefully, as we begin to fill up the first building, hopefully, this winter or next spring, we'll be building the second building.
And Steve, Captain 404, was wondering how much data storage do you have on site if you're imaging that much?
Minimal on site. We'll have a small NAS for shared files like the weather file, so that if your control system can read a weather file and respond to it, you'll have that, or a roof open or closed status. Beyond that, what we would anticipate is that everybody would use a laptop or a Nook or some sort of a computer at their telescope, and that computer would be connected via an Ethernet.
Got it.
And Dropbox has worked really well for me. I've never had a glitch, and it's just kind of seamless. As you image, you save to a shared folder, and then they just magically appear on your saved folder on your home computer, or wherever else you have them shared. And the other thing that does is it distributes the upload, so that we don't have a case where everybody gets up at 8 a.m. and starts uploading.
That's grabbing all their files.
They're kind of filtering up all night.
Yep.
I guess that's one of the big things you would have to also put into consideration the type of camera perhaps that you have and the size of these files, especially the individual fit files, to make sure you have that bandwidth to come across remotely to your whatever storage you're going to use, either your own PC, remote, or what have you. So that has to be something that has to be put under consideration for sure.
Yeah, but before we upgraded to the full gigabit upload, we were limited to 100 gigabit up, a full gig down, and 100 megabits up. But I would easily have two cameras running with the ASI 6200s. So was that 120 megabyte files? Have those running simultaneously, plus live stream from one of the cameras to YouTube, plus logging in remotely, and it never had a glitch.
Nice.
And that was before we increased the speed. So I'm not saying we won't run into issues. If we do, we can get more data capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And Dave Barnett's in the chat again, asking about what are the typical seeing conditions you have as far as transparency seeing and all that, and plus any high-res planetary work being done out there.
It varies. Most of the time we run between somewhere in the 1.5 to 2.5 range, probably averaging more around 2.2 if you take a long-term average arc seconds for seeing. I'm still not convinced we're getting the best readings we can out of the seeing monitor, but that's what it's telling us. And again, those are available on our website. I think last night we were, it actually improved gradually through the night. We started out, we had a little bit of clouds early on. It improved through the night, and by morning we were around 1.6 or 1.8, something like that.
All right.
And as far as sky quality, it varies a lot with the transparency. We will range anywhere from a good 3 to a 1, just depending on sky conditions. But I think our best readings have been in the 22.03 magnitudes per arc second squared.
Okay.
I think we saw that before.
Yep.
Wider panorama.
Yep.
The ubiquitous Orion, everybody has to put a couple of those in.
Absolutely.
Elephant trunk. I think that was just a couple nights ago. Tadpoles and the flaming star, and kind of blew my mind when I looked up the information. These are actually vastly different distances away. That I think the tadpoles is it's like 30,000 versus 3,000 light years or something like that, but not at all next to each other.
Yeah, I think I read that somewhere myself, which is really amazing. Which is really, really incredible. They do
And
seem
it's
so
interesting.
close.
The main star, AE Aurigae, in the Flaming Star Nebula supposedly was birthed in the Orion Nebula complex.
Really?
Is that be the one in here?
It's the one that's kind of right where the blue area is.
Yeah.
Right in there.
Okay.
That's the main star right there, AE Aurigae. Yeah. They said that
Okay.
supposedly it's been
I read that
traveling and
too.
it just kind of nestled right in here, but it started really in the Orion Nebula complex.
Wow.
Hmm.
Learn something new every day. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The comet K2 that's currently skipping around in the sky at night. Crescent Nebula. Heart. I think we saw that before. Always fascinated by the difference between an RGB image that that looks kind of mundane and what you find when you strip away the stars and really highlight the narrow band.
That's funny.
There it is.
That's
the
funny.
one.
Wow.
That's
a great image, Craig.
I
Yeah,
believe
thank you.
that's the picture of the week winner, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, that is gorgeous.
yes.
Thank you. Popular around Christmas time.
Oh yeah, this is one of my personal favorites too. I love the Phosphor Nebula, which is that far away, which is very close, which is right there. Yeah, that's a really nice nebula as well.
Yeah, I always refer to this as the Christmas tree cluster, but if you actually look at it, the Christmas tree is pretty small in here.
Yes.
And not really very noticeable. Just a different color palette of the tadpole and flaming star. Yield moon. Bunch of IFN.
Now,
That was when I was on my IFN kick.
Yeah, I was going to ask the IFN. How long was this? How long was this integration, or how long was this? Because I've heard IFN. You have to take quite some time, don't you?
You get most of it pretty quickly in the first, I'll say, 10 or 15 frames. What happens as you go longer is it gets smoother and less noisy. I think this was around 40 subs at 5 minutes each, unfiltered. And basically what I did, I just stuck this at the end of my sequence every night. And so the last hour, or whenever I got tired of imaging whatever else the telescope was pointed at, it just finished up the night on this and I let it accumulate.
Sure.
One of the few times I was actually patient and collected data over time rather than collect it in a rush and then process it the next day and move on, which is what I usually do.
I really like how you did that. I mean, I'm absolutely amazed at your use of color. And you see out there on the internet, and out there, some people try different color palettes, and it's not always pleasing to the eye. I'm guilty of that, I will say. But you've just done such an amazing job. And I was just looking at the M81, 82 there, and seeing like you have those in full color and your whole background's black and white, and it just was amazing looking. I mean, that whole nebulosity there was, and you just did such an amazing job. I'm selling all my stuff. I'm done. You win.
Yeah. Sure.
Now I'm going to go all the way back to your very beginning in your introduction, saying how you're an art. You approach this from an artistic, and you get the gold medal on this one. So they are absolutely beautiful images. So
thank you. Thank you. Admittedly, I am not always true to what color red the hydrogen is supposed to be, and I try to find something that's not only pleasing and striking, but also still has some good color separation between the different elements.
And it's a
And
very
sometimes
unique
it's a
color.
challenge.
It's working. I mean, you really have that eye for finding something that not everyone's doing. I mean, it's, you'll see, every 3 months, there'll be like 5-10 different, targets that you just see 100 different renditions of the same thing. And they all are in the same color palettes and the same, and, everyone puts their own, a little stamp on them, but you've really kind of stepped outside of that and just really experiment, and it's working. So I love it.
Well, thank you. And surprisingly, I have found in the Cygnus loop, I think is a good example. You almost always see that in HOO.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a surprising amount of sulfur in there. So if you go back and look at that image, it's not just all hydrogen and oxygen. And I find that frequently where targets that are almost always imaged in just hydrogen and oxygen actually harbor a fair amount of sulfur, and you can actually get more colors in the image. And that's one of the reasons I like to leave green in, because otherwise it's just a bicolor image. And
Exactly.
I
agree.
By embracing the green and letting it be there, it's a little bit more true to where the hydrogen really is in an SHO image, and it just gives you more color depth.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You definitely. Yeah. That image. Yeah. I will 100% agree with you. That was just amazing. Now, was that in SHO or was that in OHS?
The Cygnus loop?
Yes.
That was SHO.
That was an SHO. Okay.
Let's
I'll
see if
have
I
to
can-
remember that. I have to remember that to bring
sulfur.
bring in sulfur.
Getting some sulfur.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
Sometimes I will set up the hydrogen and oxygen mostly, and just throw in a couple frames of sulfur just to explore, just to see if maybe there's some there. And it seems like more often than not, I do find some. I'm almost back to it. Yep. There we go.
Yeah. There you go. It's just amazing.
Yeah, you can see all the orange in here.
Yep.
There it is.
Yeah. It's just amazing.
I'm
Not only is it you have all of this sulfur and everything else, and to make it starless too. That was really, really good.
That's pretty awesome.
That is absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not always happy with my stars, and to me, they really distract from the nebula.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a bit of star field in there, so yeah, I can see your point.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Over at the loop, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
But this is something.
And how much integration time do you have in this one?
I think this was 17 hours.
17 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
And I should also say some of this was captured for a client who was renting by the hour, and he agreed that I could use it for my project as well. So it's my data plus some that we captured for him a few nights earlier.
Gotcha.
But Greg, dark skies, Portal 2. Big difference.
Big difference.
Big difference.
And hopefully I'll be in a Bortles if the stars align, which it doesn't look good. Hopefully within 5 days I'll be in a Bortle blue sky again. So I hope to God that the weather man is wrong. So, but
I was looking at that today too, Dan, and it was not looking optimistic.
no, we're gonna make the call Monday or Tuesday. But it doesn't
I
look
was going to ask you before the show was out tonight when you're going to make that call. Because right now it's looking like Saturday is going to be all right. But
yeah, but to go all the way there for one day is not worth it. You may as well image from your house. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that, guys.
It's all, you know what? It was all looking like clear skies and bright and nice and no moon until Eric canceled. So.
Of course.
Eric, dude.
But no, but this is
Craig,
this is definitely deserving of
what
an
I would
iPod.
kind of think, because Planetary also has a lot of N2, I don't know if you've got access to an N2 filter, but I would love to see this image with a little bit of N2 added to it, because it would really just pop.
I do not have an N2 filter.
Interesting. Never thought of that.
I'll have to tuck that tip away.
See, unfortunately, what
Does N2
happens
get
is
used
N2
a
is
lot?
so close to the HA at 656.3 nanometers, so people don't really get into it. But really, a lot of planetary nebulas, they really do have a lot of N2, and it really just makes that little slight difference to kind of pop out. But you can find them on the websites, usually used, and if you get one, this, if you add it to this image, this would absolutely be spectacular. I mean, it's spectacular already.
I'll have to check into that. Yeah, unfortunately, my filter wheel's full, so I'll have to take something out.
Yep.
Yeah. It's always
Or
how
get
it
a bigger
is.
filter wheel.
Get a bigger filter wheel.
Gonna need a
You might
bigger
want to
boat.
talk
Or a
to
second, second telescope and
talk-
put some filters on one, some on the other.
There you go.
Talk
There
to
you go.
Christian about his filter wheel, because I think he wants to get rid of it. He might be interested.
I was just looking at my website. It's still pretty cloudy out there, but it's still really 3 hours till we get to astronomical dark. So it may change.
All right. Oh, there he is.
Al Need mentioned N2 is included in HA as long as you are at 5 nanometers or higher in bandpass.
Yeah.
Now I'm at 3.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
at 3 too. So I think Sean's at 3 as well.
Yeah, even Wade even
Yeah,
mentioned
I'm at
he
3.
uses a 5 nanometer
Yeah.
HA in it, to include the.
What happens is HA is 656.3 nanometers, N2 is 658.4 nanometers. So if you're at 5 nanometers, yeah, you'll definitely be creeping into that N2 range. But if you're at 3 nanometers, yeah, you're missing it.
Gotcha.
You're right. Somebody was asking about, here's the seeing monitor from last night. We had some clouds playing footsie with us early in the evening.
And it kind of settled off at about 1 a.m., 1:30.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't really, astronomical dark right now is about 10:45.
Yep.
So this really started like an hour or so before dark. So here at the around 11 o'clock is really when astronomical dark started.
So Craig, the prototype that you got right there, that's a CDK 12.5, and that's on an MX Plus mount?
ME2.
ME2, okay.
Yeah, and then I've got a Takahashi on an MX Plus.
So the ME2, that has encoders as well then, right, on that one?
No, I do not have encoders.
Okay.
I've got the beginner version.
The beginner version of the ME2. Let's see. We had some questions about rotation. Those were answered. Narrow band passes get challenging at f2.
Yeah, just get a wider band pass at f2. That's the whole secret.
Yep. All right. So very nice images. Very nice images. I mean,
Thank you.
they're outstanding. I mean,
They really are.
Thank you for sharing them with us. I mean, that you've definitely made an impact on a lot of our viewers here. They've all been saying awesome images, great images. I love them. They're blown away by this, the Cygnus Loop image, the starless one. I mean, it's amazing what you can do with, really awesome equipment and really dark skies. It's just amazing what you can do. Now, just don't let pictures like this, because it would be easy to sit there and say, hey, yeah, it's dark skies, but you know what? You could get great images at Portal 8, Portal 7, Portal 9. You can get great stuff. It's just going to take a little bit longer. So don't get frustrated. Don't get upset. It's definitely possible to do. you know. So just with the right equipment and the right perseverance and the right time, you know, you'll be able to get, you know, decent results, very decent results. So
You know what's so nice about
And
this image? This image, you know, it reminds me of like the NGC 6888, the Crescent Nebula.
Yep.
When people get the integration time, they get that real nice blue,
the blue bubble, yeah,
bubble around it. Look at the green nebula complex on the outside here. I mean, it really just encompasses the whole outside of the Western Veil and the Eastern Veil. You never really see that because you always see on the Eastern Veil, you always see just that kind of witch's brew.
I don't
But
think I've
Craig,
ever
you
seen
did
that. I don't think I've ever
beautiful
seen
job on this. I mean, the post-processing is spectacular.
well, thank you. And you know, it's somewhat easier because we perceive green as a brighter color and red as a dark color. So when you're relying on red to show hydrogen, you're starting 2 steps behind because it's already a color that we have trouble seeing. So if you switch that red to green, all of a sudden it jumps out.
Yep.
And Dan, we've talked about that a lot. People look and say, "Oh, wait a minute, there's no green out there," but we like green. Personally, I like green. It just kind of,
I love the
just
green,
adds to,
you know, and that's something that, you know, through Sean and Ron Breacher and a couple other guys that like to kind of keep a little bit of that tint in there. I kind of stole shamelessly from you guys because I happen to like it as well. And when I was able to learn that you could kind of move that subtle transition into,
Yep.
you know, those golds to the greens to the blues, just like that, just like that. And
like that. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, because once again,
Yeah,
we're the artist, right? This is just our interpretation of what we like, and we like this pleasing palette.
yep,
Exactly.
Yeah, if you take out the green, you know, that's what this is illustrating. This was running SCNR at 50%, I think.
okay,
So it actually didn't take out all the green, but it
Yep.
sure knocked out most of it. And you look at that, and if hydrogen is supposed to be green, you might conclude there's really not much hydrogen there. But there really is.
Yep.
That's my 2 cents. I guess I've got kind of 2 missions in life. One is to convince people that astrophotography can be fine art that you hang on the wall just like you would a picture of a rock or a tree or a mountain or a flower without having to know the science behind it. And secondly, for those who use Photoshop to do post-processing, I see a lot of Photoshop tutorials that make easy things hard. And so I've put together, you know, several tutorials on YouTube, but there's a lot easier ways to use Photoshop than the way I see it being used a lot.
And
If
as
you don't
said,
use Photoshop,
Sean,
that's fine. Then just ignore me.
well, and Sean, we're not doing scientific here. For us, we're not doing science, right? So, I mean, as soon as you start the post-process, there's no science anymore. So, you know, we're doing this just for a pleasing artistic palette is what we want, something that we can feel proud of to be able to mount on the wall.
yeah, and that's something we talk about quite a bit on the show, where, you know, it's really what it all comes down to is everybody's the artist. Everybody is, you know, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So when you're looking at the image of the data that you took and you process and you're happy with it, it doesn't matter what anybody else says about it. If you like it, if you enjoy it, and that's yours, and you're happy with it, then don't worry about what anybody else says, because you know what? You took the time, the effort, you were the perseverance of getting all the data and doing all. It's your work in progress, and you just keep on building and learning, and you know you're gonna get pictures like this. Trust me.
Yeah. The artist is always right.
Absolutely.
Yep. Dan, Mark Ellis
I
is
do.
asking Craig could put his web address up on YouTube.
Yeah, I could do that. I'm sorry, I should have done that a while ago.
Yeah, it's UtahDesertRemote.com.
Desert remote.
And Craig,
There's the-
what is your YouTube channel? In case anyone who wants to take advantage of those tutorials or those videos that you were sharing.
It's Utah Desert Remote Observatories. And if you find the webpage at utahdesertremote.com, if you go to blog,
Yep.
that will lead you to a series of some are blog posts, some are videos. For instance, the one on the whirlpool is kind of follows from capture through processing, processing in Pixinsight and then Photoshop. There's also a series that I did earlier this year, kind of going through how I use Photoshop for color mapping. And that's probably back a couple pages. So you can find a lot of it through the website.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm going to put both of them up there. And here's the YouTube page right there. There you go. So they're both in the chat.
Good.
Yeah, one thing I felt kind of good about, since I said I'm trying to promote astro imaging as fine art, and I do exhibit in a couple of galleries here. One of them has, every 3 months they'll put up a new show, and so I have started putting in astro images just to feel like I'm being true to myself. And I was real pleased to see in this last show somebody else put in astro images. So
nice,
not just Milky Way, but actual telescope astrophotography. So I don't know if I had an effect or not, but I like to think I did.
Absolutely. And Charity is still looking for the careers tab in your website.
Saw that.
So she can't seem to find it under the about or contact. So she wants to know where the job postings are going to be. So,
that's awesome.
When we have an opening, we will get the word out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
That's fun. Did I tell you we have a bunch of characters in the chat box? Did I tell you that? Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the website.
Should I stop sharing?
Yeah, if you're finished with the sharing, yeah, absolutely. Then we could.
Unless there's something somebody wants to see.
Let's see. So just Charity's talking about security, maintenance, and a free RV tent. So that's, I don't know.
She's really working it.
Keep on going, Charity. You might break them sooner or later. You might have to move the kids out though. So HR said
out there on Indeed.com or something.
Yeah.
So.
Well, apparently, I don't know if you have an HR department, but Wade said he already has an interview next week. So.
Okay.
So.
Well, I won't dispute it.
So.
We'll just let people wonder.
And yeah, so if you want to, Dave said he'll mow the lawn for you.
Yeah.
You guys, you guys.
He might be able to dig the holes.
Oh, Dave will dig the holes. He will do it. But yeah. So just if you wanna hit the red box, I think the red little computer, it'll stop from screen sharing.
I thought I did. Because I clicked on it and the little red box went away.
It's the maybe the red monitor icon that's right in between the red box and the mic icon.
No,
that's usually the one. But it does. I think it still says that you're still sharing because it says
it is still sharing. Let me.
Yep.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
Oh,
and
awesome. There you go.
Trouble is now you see me.
Nope, we'll get there. Give me 1 second. There we go. And nope, that's 6. And there we go. There's 6 again. It's just a little shuffled. So there we go. So we
like
can everybody see the 6 or no? Can everybody see the 6? Yes.
Yeah,
I can.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure I'm on the right page.
Sure.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, thanks a lot, Craig. I mean, you definitely got a lot of great stuff going on over in Utah Desert, and it's it's awesome for you to come on to the show and sharing, your vision and what's going to go on there in the future. So thank you so much for spending time with us. And at least what is it? It's only 7:48 over there, something like that. 6:48, 7:48,
7:48.
7:48.
And I appreciate the opportunity to share what we're doing, because we're having a lot of fun, and it's fun to show people.
Yeah, and when you're ready to come on back and you want to give us an update on Utah Desert Remote, come on down, and please, you got to come and let Charity know that the job is ready for her. Or else it's it's not gonna be happy. Charity is an ex-security worker, so she's a tough cookie. She's gonna come down.
Is there like something on your website or any thing like that, like a wait list, so guys we can start putting our name on it, so we can start reserving one of those
caretaker spots?
Yeah,
or even a pad,
or one of the pads. Just get our name on, so we want to reserve a pad. We want this pad.
Well, I said there's actually 18 pads in the first building. We've had a lot of people say they want them, but when you actually put your deposit down is when you would really reserve your spot.
Right.
So with the pay the first 2 months rent, and then that will guarantee your spot.
Well, everybody that's in the chat, we're taking donations now. for the pad. And it will be the AstroWorld pad. How about that? We could do that eventually. We'll have the AstroWorld pad, and it'll be just for members only. There you go. Done.
Yeah. And the usages will run the gamut from a group of people who put together their own little club of 2 or 3 or 4 people to share the cost.
Yep.
Ranging up to corporations that want to rent multiple pads.
Absolutely. That's gonna be an awesome utility for everybody. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited.
And is that
we feel really lucky that we found that property.
Yeah, the property's huge, and it's really in a pristine area. You really struck gold on that. So
yeah, I don't think we appreciated at the time how special it really is.
Especially when especially when you were building the road for a half a mile, So
yeah, I lost track of how many millions of pounds of gravel that took. But first cutting through the brush and then elevating it, and we elevated about 3 feet or so across the wash and put a culvert in case we do get some drainage through the wash. So that road actually may be at this point so far the single most expensive thing out there.
Yeah, please say you built that road actually winter probably wouldn't be good, at least in the spring.
In the spring, but we added a lot of water. My son was able to borrow a water trailer from work for a while, and then we bought our own, which is handy for if we would ever need it, God forbid, for fire.
Yeah,
we have our own water tank that we keep full with its own fire hose. But no, my daughter wound up doing all the research on road building, on how much road base we needed to put down, and what kind of fabric do you put underneath it. And some of it we have what's called geogrid to lock everything in place.
Wow, a lot of learning a little bit of civil engineering and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, we've learned stuff we didn't even want to know. Anything from how to build a road, water rights, how to get a use permit from the county. Probably learned why a lot of people don't bother getting building permits, because it can be such a hassle.
Yeah.
Now, do you have information currently on your website as far as the annual lease or rental cost, anything like that currently right now? Do you have any of that information?
I think he said
on your site?
There's nothing there yet.
There's nothing there yet. Okay, sorry, I must have missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have the by the hour rental. If you're where that has been useful is for people who have like a wide field refractor with a one-shot color camera or even a DSLR, and they want to dip their toes into monochrome, or they have a target that they need a longer focal length. They can rent by the hour and get the data from us. And we do that. It's a very hands-on. We work on a Zoom meeting to set up the sequence the way they want it. They get exclusive use of the data. We don't sell their data, and we don't sell them somebody else's data. It's your run, your data.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Nice. Awesome. Well, we do have some stuff that we got to do. We got a giveaway we got to take care of. We got to crown the picture of the week, the round 2. We need to crown the picture of the month for June. The voting is over. Ended at 5:00 p.m. today. So we have
Oh
to.
wow, it's the end of the month, isn't it? My goodness.
Yeah. So the June end of the month, because we got to wait for the June pictures to come in and get voted on. So we give it 3 weeks, and it is the third week in July. So it's time to crown some winners. So let's start, I guess. What was that?
Did we get a chance to see the images?
All of them. Let me tell you, there was 22 images. I mean,
oh
wow.
Yeah, that's why we had to do it in 2 rounds. We had to do it
just the top 3.
Okay, I could try. It's gonna do a little bit of shuffling, so you're gonna have to, actually, you know what? I could do it through the website. I could do it through the website because they'll just know that. So let me grab on the website real quick and AstroWorld live site, and I am on the web page now, and picture of the week. All right, so okay. Really? Stop.
Uh-oh.
What is going on here? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me get. Yeah, let's try that again. Okay, let's try the first page. Okay, and let's try the picture of the week. Okay, we're having a problem with the picture of the week page now. That's awesome. It always happens with the live. Give me a second, and I'll refresh the picture of the week live. Give me 1 second, and I'll see if I could refresh it real quick. Nobody look at my password. Can't see it anyway. And I'll just go back to the so you guys don't see what I'm doing, and we can still talk on here. And do that. There we go. So while I do this, just feel free to talk amongst your own real quick, so I could kind of do this.
So the observatory, you were saying everything you're expecting by fall of this year?
Yes. Yeah, it sounds like a lot to get done in just a couple months, but the infrastructure is pretty much all there.
Okay.
I say the power is run to within 100 feet, so we just need to bury power, put in and hook up the backup generator. So it should go fairly quickly.
Good.
As long as we don't.
I think you're going to have, a lot of people already who have shown interest here within our audience. You've already mentioned you have quite a few people that have already, have interest. So I'm sure this is going to, be, really successful for you. So this is going to be, I'm sure, and you're probably going to be building out even more observatories.
We hope so. That ideally we would like to have 3 buildings like that. Plus, we're talking to some people who would like to put individual observatories out there. So, in that scheme, basically they would pay for the observatory and rent the land.
Gotcha.
So that, if we have 3, 4 at the absolute most, probably, buildings out there. So, big enough that the kids can earn, enough to get by, and small enough that we know all of the customers.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I want to see if there's any other questions here. I don't see any others. Here's one. Or did Dave already add? Did we already ask? Was this one from David? A 12-inch f12, will it fit? F12 DNG, will it fit?
The DNG refractor that he has?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
F12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very big guy. Very big gun.
Very big. No, this is crazy. No, but besides that, I think it's the majority of the questions. So no, awesome. Do we want to? Are you working on the image of the week right now, or do we just want to? Do you want to spin the?
Yeah, let me
giveaway?
spin because there's something wrong with the webpage. It keeps unloading for me. Not sure why.
This is the thing that I Craig, you and I have talked about this, and this is the thing that I like about it is that you're so close to Vegas. So what you do is you fly into Vegas, people enjoy themselves for a night in Vegas, then they drive up to Zion, and you're only 60 miles north of Zion. So I mean, you can literally go up there, spend a couple of nights if you want to go ahead, set your scope up or whatever, come back down, do some hiking, do some walking around Zion. And then you go back to Vegas and you fly out of Vegas. You can spend the night. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. It really is just a great location, and it's just a great little setup that you can kind of really do a little social around.
Yeah, we've probably got at least 5 national parks that are day trips from St. George. That you've got Zion, Bryce Canyon, Cedar Breaks, the North Rim of the Grand Canyon, and then we've got 3 state parks, 4 state parks, just on the outskirts of St. George.
Wow.
And then add to that all of the BLM, just kind of open land from Bureau of Land Management and Forest Service. If you like being outside, there's plenty of outside here.
Sounds like it. Yeah, sounds like it. A lot of state parks, national parks, and just getting out there. So no, that sounds really cool. I've wanted to try to get, at some point, get the RV packed up, get the family over to, start maybe to Utah and visit at least one, if not, if we can do all of the big 5.
You'll never do just one. I've been out there 3 times, and the first time was 4 days, and the next time was a week, and the next time was 2 weeks, and it's never enough. You'll never hit one. It's make sure you have time. It's beautiful out there.
Yeah.
Well, they say Utah, I think, has the highest concentration of certified dark sky sites.
Wow.
That all of the national parks are certified dark sky sites, and a lot of the state parks either are or are working on it.
It was the first time that I think I'd ever seen the shadow from the Milky Way.
One of the great hikes that I've ever done is you go to Zion and you have to register, but you hike the subway. You can either go down from the back end up, or you can come down and you have to go traverse through a bunch of creeks. But if you really want some terrestrial photography, you got to do the subway. It is absolutely spectacular. It is just something unique. And it's the Virgin River is actually cut. It looks like a New York subway tunnel through this whole rock. And it goes for close to about maybe a quarter of a mile. It really is spectacular.
Okay.
All right.
That's not an easy hike. As I understand it, there's 2 routes. One is a shorter but technical climbing, so you need climbing gear.
From the top down, right.
And then the other is a more like a 20-mile hike, but it's not technical.
Well, it's not 20 miles. It's 12 miles. So it's 6 miles one way, 6 miles back. It's a 12-mile, but that's from the back end going up. But I tell you what, you got to bring a camera because it really is spectacular.
All right. Well, let's spin real quick for the prize first. I can't seem I checked Edge, I checked Chrome. There's something in the background on the website where we're not going to be able to show the pictures, but we will be able
Wade
to show.
Wade had a question in the chat there. He was asking why Nooks were used and not Eagles.
Oh,
Just seemed like a good idea at the time. No particular reason.
okay. We got some Eagle fans out there. So.
Yeah.
So all right, so let's do this real quick, and we'll get the. We actually bumped up a bunch of people on this one for the IP for AP and Masters of Pixinsight giveaway. So we're at 86 people that have signed up for this giveaway. So thank you to everybody who signed up. Thank you for everybody for the support. And this is for the Masters of Pixinsight next class. It's probably going to be mid-August because they just did their last class. But if you want to use this win for any of their prior classes, you're more than welcome to do so. You'll get an email from Pete Prule over at Masters of Pixinsight, and he'll tell you how to do that. So here we go. Spin the wheel. There we go.
Spin the wheel.
Spin it, spin it, spin it. This is where we lose all our members right after this. And it looks like Greg Thornton. Greg Thornton, congratulations. And you will be getting an email from me and Pete Prule on how to redeem your free Masters of Pixinsight class. And look for that in your email. So that is pretty cool. So congratulations to Greg. And this is still loading up. So we're not going to do this way. We're just going to do it the old-fashioned way. And we'll get out of here. We'll go here. And so we need to crown round 2 of the pictures of the week. So round 2, let's see where we're at. So week ends July 22nd, and I can show the picture when I'm done. It's still saved on my computer. So July 22nd, the winner is M16, the Eagle Nebula, processed by Wade Prunty with, how many votes is that? 7 votes out of the 17 votes. So congratulations to Wade.
Congrats.
M16, and you know what? I'm gonna look and see if I can grab that for you. Right, I'll do it both at the same time, and then we got it.
There were a lot of unknowns here.
Yeah. So apparently, people have been putting their specs in the photo in Google Drive on the side. And it was unknown to me. I'm used to looking for a separate text file or a doc file or something. Those are ones that didn't have anything, and some of them had. Well, if I'm sure somebody would say, "Hey, that's mine," but please, if in the future, do me a favor, just make a separate text file. It's easy for me to copy and paste it in there. Again, we had a lot of people. This is the second round, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pictures in this round. We had 10 in the first round. So, I mean, unbelievable. So that being said, that opens up the next round starting on Monday's voting. So get your pictures in for the next one. And let's crown the picture of the month of June.
Have we seen what it looks like?
I will. I'll do them both at the same time so I don't have to go back and forth. So picture of the month for June. We had 24 votes total. And the winner is, who is this? HOO Image, Crescent Nebula, 03, Flame Wave L. Is this Mark Ellis? Flame Wave
maybe
L350?
Mark. Yeah.
I think that's Mark Ellis.
It sounds like Mark Drake.
Well,
we'll see it when it populates up. We'll see if it's Mark.
I think that's Mark Ellis. So, but this is all the images that he didn't put his name in there. I think that's Mark's.
Mark.
Let's see. We'll just do this.
Yeah, just
Well,
copy and paste.
Copy that. And let's see his Astrobin page. And
Yep,
Mark Ellis.
it's
Yep,
Mark.
that's Mark's.
Yes,
So
That
that's
was very well done.
Ooh, pretty. Very
that's
Yeah, that is nice.
a nice job to Mark. Congratulations to the picture of the month.
Absolutely,
Mark is
Mark.
a multiple picture of the week winner. This is his first, and it will be, sorry, Mark, your only picture of the month because you could only have one. So in the calendar year. If you get more than one, well, you're not going to get more than one, but but that's how that's going to work. But nice job to Mark. And then let's get to, who is the other one? I'm sorry. Who is the other one from last week? Who won? So I could get that picture up there. That was M16, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So Drive and Astropod and previous weeks and the M16. Where are you? Where? No. I think this was it. Yep, Wade. Yep, that's it.
Yep.
There you go.
Nice image.
Nice.
Nice. Look at that.
Look
Great
at that.
job.
Nice. That is
Great job.
nice.
eagle.
Great job, Wade. So congratulations to Wade.
Yep.
Congratulations to Mark. Both of yours will be updated probably this weekend on the website, and it'll be on the sliding screen. Sorry, the sliding screen.
Yeah. I'm going to say, guys, we got a great calendar in the works here.
Yeah.
I'm
So
telling you.
It's gonna be so-
Dan, I was telling you before, I think I mentioned this before, we all need to also, the AstroWorld team, we maybe want to consider throwing our hat in the ring on our own little thing so our audience can pick maybe one of ours to be, in the calendar.
Sure, why not? We could do a separate one on,
Yeah, do a separate one.
And of course we need to do the picture of the year at the end of the year. So what we do is we do a picture of the month, and in that picture of the month we make an AstroWorld calendar of all the pictures of the month, and it's gonna have all the new moon information, any celestial events in there, and all that kind of stuff. And the picture of the year will be on the cover, and that will be based on all the pictures of the month, and we'll do that. So that's what we do.
Sounds very nice.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
So I think Craig, you're in there because you got Simius 147, right? He got the image of the month, right? With Simius 147.
Yep, you're in there. You'll be in there. You'll be in the Spaghetti Nebula. So,
Oh, that's
Okay.
right. Yes.
so if we take a look real quick, I'll try and bring it up. So we know what this month's picture or June picture of the month is. If I can grab this real quick. Let's see. I need a binocular for my AstroWorld, movie files, JPEGs, and AstroPow 2022, and pictures of the month. So I'll open these up real quick. And actually, I'm incorrect, Craig. I'm sorry. Craig. Let's see. So here's, I know we have a March somewhere. I think you were March, if I remember right. And I don't have Marches in there. I apologize. But let's see. So the picture of the months that we have so far are April, Jason Trevino, AZ Forerunner, Chris Frickson. He calls it the Flaming Skull Nebula. Dave Schaefer.
Yeah, I can't unsee that anymore.
Yeah. I mean,
a lot.
Yeah, just turn it a little bit and you can see it. Dave Schaefer. and Josh Kovacs. And now we have Mark Ellis. So there we go.
Nice.
So very good. And that is it, I think. Let me get off this. There we go.
There you go.
Whew. Man, what a day. But awesome. So so this unfortunately is the last show for a couple of weeks. We will be taking our summer break starting this week, and we will be back on the 10th of August. So we're gonna spend some time with the fam, spend time with people. We do this, and we love doing it. So don't get me wrong, we love doing this stuff, but it's sometimes you just need a break, and we do take 2 breaks a year. We take a summer break and a break at the end of the year. But it's a great time. It's a lot of fun. And Craig, I can't thank you enough for coming down and enjoying the last 2 hours and change with us tonight and showing us your pictures and your project out in Utah.
Yep. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No, and don't forget to come back and give us an update, because we're all our viewers are super interested in the job opening that you're going to be having by the end of the year. I guess we could run around, do really quick final thoughts really quick, and we could get out. So Eric?
No, again, thanks, Craig. Really informative, and have a great weekend. We're gonna chill out for a couple weeks here and recharge a bit, and I'm looking forward to that. And
play some D&D.
Yeah, play some D&D, and just hang out. So I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, just chilling out for a little bit. So, but again, this has been another great show, guys. So.
Absolutely. Go Scott.
Yeah, it was a great show. I really enjoyed listening and watching the process. As a photographer myself, terrestrial, and others, portrait and so on and so forth, real estate and such. I definitely appreciate where you came from, but I also I've cut my teeth in the construction trade, so watching the process going forward, with the building and everything that comes along with that, I'm very familiar with the headaches and the trials, tribulations, and victories, of all that goes into a project like that. Built several homes, so I get that, and kudos on the site. I don't think you guys could have done a better job, picking a site. It's obviously going to be a good business model, very well thought out, and definitely look forward to seeing how it progresses over the years. So kudos.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it too.
I bet.
Yeah.
Sean?
Fantastic presentation. Really enjoyed it. I think what was most fascinating for me was the integration time on some of these images, which, a few hours and you have this fabulous result that you're getting. And even the images that were 10 or 20 hours was, they were just amazing to see. And I can't get that from my location here, just on the suburbs of the city, and that I would have to do, 40, 50, 60 hours, and it probably wouldn't even come close to what I was seeing. So you got some really fabulous skies there. And with the equipment that we have at our disposal these days, we're doing some amazing work, and you're doing some amazing work down there, and I look forward to seeing how it progresses myself as well.
Yes.
Great show tonight, guys. Craig, thank you so much. I mean, I'm very intrigued. Not only do I want to go back to Utah, I'm very interested in trying out some of this different color. I'm trying to find my own style. And again, I think I just was blown away by that. I mean, a million different things with your presentation today really just, struck me, but, just really your use of color and your artistic, take on some of this targets that we see over and over again, imaged, very much the same way. Very much looking forward to seeing, how you get everything up and running. Just a great show. Was it Mark and Wade? Congratulations on your images, guys. And Eric, you and your wife have a fantastic anniversary.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy anniversary there, Eric.
And last but not least, Mr. Pete.
Well, on behalf of Sean, hey, Scott, what's that on your shirt?
I was trying not to say anything tonight.
I'm sorry,
They've
Sean. I
already
just
got
have to
something.
put that in.
They've already got something going on in the chat about Scott's shirt. About
Yeah,
the
so I
loser gets to
did
eat
see
the
a
cheese
couple of
off of
lines
it.
there, little cheese lines there. So there's an
Craig,
ongoing joke, Craig, that Scott had
Craig,
cheese
thank
on
you
his
for
shirt
coming on the
during the
show.
show.
Really is. Your images are great, and it's a pleasure to kind of met you and your wife up at AIC. And Eric, I got to talk to you because I got a question to ask you. Jesse, always a pleasure meeting you. I won't see you in a couple of weeks, but you definitely be safe and sound. Scott, always a pleasure talking to you. And Dan, let's face it, you're the hub here, man. We're all the folks that kind of come to the hub. You really are the one that kind of put this whole thing together. And as I said, it's just a pleasure to come on the show. The viewer membership, the questions, as long as they're happy with what we do, we'll definitely be able to bring on great guests. And, as I said, it's just a great social get together here on Wednesdays and Friday nights. But thank you all.
All right.
Yeah. And a real quick shout out. Thank you to, our guests. Thank you for your participation and your great questions all the time. So it makes our jobs a heck of a lot easier. And it makes the time
Thanks,
go.
Craig.
It makes the time go, and we just have a blast. So thank you all for your participation.
Absolutely. We definitely couldn't do it without all the memberships. We had 46 at peak, 48, I think I saw. So a nice turnout. So thank you for everybody. As soon as we spin the wheel, it drops at least 15 members just get off. But but we're not giving away anything free. It just goes. But again, Craig, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you everybody for hanging with us in the lovely, summer heat that we have here. And again, everybody, have a good night. Have a great weekend. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Eric, happy anniversary. Tell Robin I said happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Everybody be safe, be quiet, stay warm, stay cool.
Stay cool. Opposite.
We got no problem with warm, brother.
It's been a long day.
I
I know. I don't even know what temperate zone I'm in. I don't know what's going on. But everybody, have a good night. Thank you for your support. We will have something going on next Friday for the giveaway for Optalong. It'll be a short kind of snippet, but thank you, everybody. Remember, and as always, keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you on August 10th. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the support.
Don't forget the bunny.
Oh, my God. That can't be.
Scott, you gotta get that face up towards the camera. Scott, get that face up towards the camera.
Oh, just for everybody else, because everyone's waiting for it. There you go. Yeah, well, that was a definite off the rails shot. So, all right, everybody, have a good night. We're done. Eric threw us off the train. Thank you again, Craig. And if you want to stick around, we'll still be here when this thing closes out. So,
thank you.
Have a good night.